ESPN College Basketball, presented by Allstate. From the Peterson Event Center on the of the University of Pittsburgh, it's the Mountaineers of Mount St. Mary's taking on the Pitt Panthers. Hi again, everybody, along with former South Carolina and Western Kentucky coach Darren Horn. I'm Tim Neverett. Excited to get this college basketball season underway. And when we get our one-on-one, Darren, we look at Jamian Norfleet for Mount St. Mary's. It's a new offense he's got to play in this year, but the Mount hoping for similar results from him offensively.
Well, almost 14 points a game last year, Tim. He's my kind of guy. He's a long, athletic lefty. He can score on the open floor. He shoots with deep range. And I really think this wide-open offensive system is going to benefit him playing for Jamian Christian.
And for Pittsburgh, it's the long-awaited debut of 7-foot freshman center Steven Adams. He's from New Zealand. All eyes will be on him tonight.
A consensus top 5 recruit in the country, and most importantly, he's Jamie Dixon's kind of guy. He's a high-energy guy. He's extremely unselfish, tremendous work ethic. His athleticism and size alone is really going to impact the Panthers this year.
Well, a brand-new coach for Mount St. Mary's. A 2004 graduate of Mount St. Mary's, Jamian Christian. He's getting set to coach his first game. He's got to have a couple of butterflies.
No, there's no question about it. It's one of those things, Tim, until you do it, you haven't done it.
And Jamie Dixon hoping to turn around what was a very disappointing season in Pittsburgh last year. He's pretty optimistic. His 10th season as the head man here at Pitt.
Well, I like this team. A lot of returning guys. Most importantly, Trey Woodall is healthy, and they've added a couple of tremendous freshmen in Robinson and Adams.
Starting lineups tonight. We take a look at the first 5 for each of the teams. Castellanos, Wack, Norfleet, Xavier Owens, and Christian Kreina starting for Mount St. Mary's. James Robinson and Steven Adams, both freshmen. First time since 2004. Pitt has had 2 true freshmen in a starting lineup. Trey Woodall, Lamar Patterson, and Talib Zana, the veterans, rounding out the Pittsburgh starting 5. And there is Steven Adams from Rotorua in New Zealand, 7 feet tall. There are a number of NBA scouts here to watch him. Comes from a family of 18 siblings. No male in his family shorter than 6'10".
That's like the Zeller family that we're so familiar with here in the States, but on steroids.
His shortest sister, 6'5", by the way, and an Olympic gold medalist twice in the shot put. James Breeding, John Gaffney, Clarence Armstrong, the officials tonight, as Pitt in the white, Mount St. Mary's in the navy blue, and we're getting set to get underway here from Peterson Event Center. Kreina and Adams to jump center and get this season underway. And Mount St. Mary's controls the basketball are underway. Castellanos, the junior from Orlando, Florida, playing point guard. This is Rashad Wack. Back to Castellanos. A new-look offense this year. Mount St. Mary's had been running a Princeton-style offense. The name of this offense, Jamian Christian telling us before the game, is simply mayhem.
On both ends of the floor, and you're going to see a lot of that tonight. Maybe as many as 33s taken.
Trey Woodall gets the first Pitt rebound of the season. Talib Zana tries to find Patterson. Lamar Patterson out of Robinson, the freshman. James Robinson out of Mitchellville, Maryland. From DeMatha High School. And this one knocked out of bounds. Getting a hand on it was Julian Norfleet.
Well, you saw the great deflection right there, but it was created because there was pressure on the basketball, something that's going to be a constant for Jamian Christian.
17 seconds on the shot clock once the ball's inbound. And Robinson played for Team USA, the under-18 team, this past summer, and won the gold medal in Brazil. To the basket, and Talib Zana for 2. Pitt as Norfleet tries to lead a barrage of 3-point shots. We might see as many as 25 or 30 threes attempted. That's a goal, anyway, of Jamian Christian.
Well, in order for him to do that, they're going to have to get out in transition or get a little bit more movement than that. Everything right now is side to side. Luckily, that one fell for him.
And the sophomore out of Tampa, Florida, Xavier Owens, makes the first 3 of the ballgame. 1-point lead early on for Mount St. Mary's. Again about Robinson, a true freshman. How long does it take for a true freshman to adjust to the speed of Division I basketball?
Well, I would say normally mistakes, but Robinson's a special player. As great as qualities and everything he's done, he's won.
Trey Woodall with a basket for Pitt. Norfleet guarded by Robinson. St. Mary's wants to play fast, but looking for direction now from the bench. And a steal by Zana. Talib Zana. Couldn't get up, but got the basket anyway.
His teammates will be making fun of him on that one.
Coming down court a little bit lame, favoring the left ankle. That's normally an automatic flush for Zana. Sean Wack lost control of the basketball. Castellanos with it. Castellanos getting some direction from the bench. Now gets around Adams. 7 seconds on the timer. Pulls up for 2 from the elbow. And the rebound to Robinson. And a 3, and Patterson can't get it to go. Lamar Patterson, veteran player here, a junior, CBI MVP last year. Another 3 put up. This one made by Rashad Wack.
You know, that's the first time in a little over 3 minutes, Tim, that Mount St. Mary's has finally gotten out in transition and gotten a quick shot. They're going to have to do that. They can't play in the half court against Pittsburgh.
Woodall guarded by Castellanos. The screen by Adams. Tries it again, and Woodall manages to get around it. I get some help from Robinson. Shot clock now under 10 for Pitt. Adams with it. Wide open for 3 is Woodall. And the Panthers with a 9-6 lead. 5 points for Woodall.
And 7-foot Steven Adams on the assist, Tim.
Well, that's one thing that a center can do to contribute offensively, other than get rebounds, is make that pass from up high.
It's one of the things that gives him an opportunity to be special. He does so many little basketball things in addition to just using his size.
Rock trying to dribble to the right, gives it off to Norfleet. And the corner it goes. Owens got another 3. That's his second one. And it's tied at 9. We were told we'd see a lot of 3-pointers, and we are seeing just that. Alley-oop and a hammer by Adams. They expect to see a lot of that out of the consensus preseason Big East Freshman of the Year.
Well, having flashbacks to going against Anthony Davis twice last year and all of his lob dunks at the end of the break. It's a great weapon when you're beating pressure.
Robinson guarding Norfleet. Wack picked up by Patterson. Now Owens again. Shot clock to 5. 3-pointer. Short. Attempted by Wack and missed. The rebound goes to the point guard Robinson. James Robinson, the all-time winningest player at Matha in Baltimore. 120 wins as a high school player.
That's a lot of wins for anybody, but especially from such a prestigious high school program.
Woodall missed the 3. Rebound goes to Adams on the floor. Loose ball. Patterson picks it up. Pitt maintains control. And they got a fresh 35 in the process. Talib Zana underneath for 2 more. 6 points for Zana in the early going. Pitt with a 4-point lead. Norfleet. Entry pass to Kreina. He's doubled. Kreina nowhere to go. Zana and Adams guarding him. And Zana saves it from going out of bounds. Pitt on the run. Woodall lobs it for Patterson. And now Zana comes in late and scores. 8 points for Talib Zana. And a 15-9 Pittsburgh lead.
Maybe the most impressive thing about the Panthers so far, Tim, is the way they've moved the basketball, and it hasn't just been their point guards. Their bigs are doing an outstanding job of passing as well.
Over the last 90 seconds, Pitt on a 6-0 run. Wholesale substitutions waiting to come in at the break. Now Norfleet tries a 3, and he's got it. Julian Norfleet with the 4th 3-pointer for Mount St. Mary's. Robertson guarded by Castellanos.
So we're going on almost 7 straight minutes of action. These kids have got to be dying out there.
And Talib Zana in double fingers with a two-handed jam. 10 points for Zana. Talib Zana on his way to a big night. Zana, 6'9". He's from Nigeria. The junior speaks 4 different languages. And a shot by Wack, and that's good. Another 3 by Mount St. Mary's. That's 5 of them. And it's a 2-point ball game.
The great equalizer, the 3-point shot. All of their field goals have been 3s.
Just over 12 minutes to go in the first half at the Peterson Event Center, tipping off the college basketball season. Adams battling for the loose ball, taken away by Krajina. Christian Krajina out of Croatia. Another 3 attempted. Norfleet hits it. He's got 2 of those. And now Mount St. Mary's has taken a 1-point lead and a timeout on the floor with 11:50 to go in the first half. So even though Pitt built up some momentum, had a 6-0 run, Mount St. Mary's has done nothing but connect on 3-pointers and has taken a 1-point advantage.
Well, they're doing a terrific job of getting their 3s off of movement. That one was off of a flare screen. They've gotten one in transition. A lot off getting in the paint and kicking out to a shooter spotted up on the perimeter. There's a little flare screen. Norfleet, as we said, a lefty that scores in a lot of ways. He's got deep range. That was about 3 feet behind the line.
6 out of 8 from 3 for Mount St. Mary's. 0 for 1 from inside the arc. And Pitt 1 for 2, but 7 for 7 for 2. So the 3s outweighing the 2s right now.
Well, we said before the game, Tim, that Mount St. Mary's is going to have to make 3s early to make this a basketball game, and right now they're doing that.
Jamie Dixon, 9-0 in his career on opening nights as the head coach at Pitt. Trey Woodall in the ball game. Gives it off to Cameron Wright, who's fouled as he goes to the basket. And Cameron Wright fouled by Barber. It's a 1-point Mount St. Mary's lead. Talib Zana, though, the leading scorer in the game with 10 early on. Point shooting been a big key. It's been the key so far for the Mountaineers of Mount St. Mary's.
Well, it's a huge weapon for them, and as we talked about earlier, they're getting it in a variety of ways, and they're getting it from different people. They're going to shoot maybe as many as 30 this game, and right now it's why they have the lead.
And they brought their 3-point shooting shoes with them from Emmitsburg, Maryland. Julian Norfleet has 2 of them. He led the Mountain scoring last year, just under 14 points a game. Here is Cameron Wright, playing with a very heavy heart today, as the Panthers learned during the shoot-around this morning that the father of Cameron Wright passed away this morning after a battle with brain cancer. And Cameron, from Cleveland originally, but the family lives here now in Pittsburgh, wanted to play tonight. But again, playing after the passing of his father earlier today. And Wright knocks down that free throw. 18-18, another timeout on the floor. 11:39 left in the first half. Talib Sana has been the man for the Pittsburgh Panthers. 10 points already. First player to double figures in this game.
One he's done it a lot of different ways. There you see him with the steal and the lay-in. Hanging out around the basket. He's really picking up where he left off last year. His last 6 games were phenomenal. 14 points. He shot 73% from the floor.
He's shooting 100% so far tonight. 5 out of 5 from the floor. And he gets a well-earned rest. Last season averaging 6.3 points a game, but off to a terrific start in game number 1 here tonight with 10 points early in the first half. Along with Darren Horn, former South Carolina and Western Kentucky coach, I'm Tim Neverett at the Peterson Event Center. 18 all, Mount St. Mary's and the Pittsburgh Panthers. And a steal by Woodall. Trey Woodall to the basket. Finger rolls good. And the Panthers in front 20-18. Siobhan Wiggins, a freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina, the point guard wearing number 10. Sam Prescott has the basketball. Both teams will use probably 10, perhaps 11 men in their rotation in this game. And that's sort of typical in a non-conference setup, isn't it? Until you can figure out your 8 or 9 man rotation.
Well, early in the year, you're always trying to get a feel for who can do what and what your best lineups are, and both teams will use that early on. Although Jamie and Christian in his mayhem style, they'll probably continue to play 10 and 11 throughout the year.
Fouls on Dante Taylor, the 6'9" senior for Pittsburgh. Woodall will step off the court, and coming back on is the freshman James Robinson. Trap in the corner. And a timeout is called, as Siobhan Wiggins was able to make the timeout call. The 32nd timeout.
You saw right there in that play, Tim, one of the reasons why Jamie Dixon has done such a phenomenal job here at Pittsburgh. Prior to that bump in the road last year, 10 straight NCAA tournaments for this program. That's exactly what they worked on at the walkthrough today, trapping the inbound handoff. Exactly like they drew it up or walked through it actually, and that's a situation where preparation leads to a good play by your team. That's outstanding coaching. That's one of the things that makes Jamie Dixon so good.
Well, and it looked as though Wiggins knew he was defeated immediately. He started calling timeout as soon as he recognized that trap, realizing he had nowhere to go.
That's a bad place to be when you're a 5'10" freshman in your first game.
And Wiggins will inbound again against another freshman guarding him, James Robinson. That's St. Mary's with a basketball. Wiggins Bring it back up toward the center circle. Got a little direction from his young head coach, Jamie and Christian. Prescott looking for a lane. The passing lane interrupted by Cameron Wright. Wright got a hand on it and knocked it out of bounds. Cameron Wright, 6'4" sophomore. And Wright fouling up by the half-court stripe. That's just the third foul of the ballgame so far.
I think Jamie Dixon will live with that foul. That's Cameron Wright being extremely aggressive on the basketball, pressuring a freshman, handling it. I think he'll be all right with that.
Well, Mountaineers will inbound at half court. Sam Prescott will put the ball in play. Trey Ziegler guarding him now, wearing 23 for Pittsburgh.
Interested to see, Tim, which one of these transfers in the game steps up first. 2 for Mount St. Mary's and Prescott and Wack, of course, and then Ziegler for Pittsburgh.
The foul's going to be called up top on Dante Taylor. That's his second personal. And the fourth team foul for Jamie Dixon's Panthers. Just about halfway through the first half at the Peterson Event Center. Jamie Dixon out of TCU, former player in New Zealand. It's sort of how he got connected with Steven Adams, who is from New Zealand. Jamie actually played with and against some of Steven's older brothers.
That worked out great for him.
Yeah. Ziegler guarding Prescott. Now Barber trying to back in, lost control for a moment, and here comes Pittsburgh. J.J. Moore to the basket. He's got his first bucket. J.J. Moore, the junior from Brentwood, New York, 6'6".
Tim, Jamie Dixon's got to be really pleased with the fact that their defense is creating turnovers. That's leading the offense. That's something that they really wanted to focus on this year with this team. Here comes another one.
Steal by Wright, and Wright goes with the left hand up and in.
They've always been a great half-court field goal percentage defensive team, but he thinks they have the length and athleticism to turn it up a notch and score off of their defense, and they're doing it here so far tonight.
24-18, and Pittsburgh now on a 7-0 run. Cameron Wright, right place, right time. And he just beat Wack to the basketball and took it the length of the court. Mount St. Mary's with 4 turnovers. Pittsburgh taking care of the basketball. Pitt with just 1. They weren't sure whether or not Cameron Wright was even going to play tonight. And at some point during the day, he told Jamie Dixon, I'll be there at 4:30 for the 6 o'clock game. Don't worry.
Well, it speaks a lot to that young man's character and the strength of his family that he's here tonight.
Pass up top to Kelvin Parker. Parker gets the basketball back. Tried to rise for 3, and Moore forces him to dish. Adams knocks it away, and here comes Robinson on the run out. Robinson up and in. James Robinson for 2. Looked like he was going to be a little out of control, but maintained enough control, and now an 8-point lead for Pitt. Jumper is good by Rashad Wack.
Rashad Wack's going to have to do a lot more of that. Pittsburgh is so solid in the half court. He's going to have to create some offense for Mount St. Mary's.
And Wack now with 8 points. Points off turnovers have been an important factor for Pitt to regain the lead. 12 points off turnovers and only 3 for the Mountaineers. Cameron Wright will inbound as Pitt will have possession with about 8.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Trey Woodall, guarded by Castellanos.
Look for Mount St. Mary's to get a little more aggressive like you just saw with that trap, Tim, to try to change things up a little bit here after the big run by Pittsburgh.
And Adams with his own rebound. 4 points for Adams. He's going to be tough to tangle with inside this year. Moore saved it, but Mount St. Mary's back in control. Xavier Owens with a basketball and a whistle on the far side. And the ball is going to go back to Mount St. Mary's. Well, Jamie Dixon telling us about Steven Adams today, a kid who was on his own basically at one point in his life, and his older brothers realizing the possible talent that he had, and also the fact that he's very, very smart. They wanted to see him develop in a different way than they did. His older brother is turning professional at a very young age and living that professional life too early on. And they figure the younger brother can benefit from the structure of the University of Pittsburgh.
And maybe just as impressive as their emphasis on academics.
Wack gets into double figures with a three. He's now got 11 points. Right, the runner. That's good. And he'll go to the line for a possible three-point play. A blocking foul. So a timeout on the floor, and Wright will shoot. When we come back, Cameron Wright with a raindrop. It's a 7-point lead for Pitt over Mount St. Mary's in the season opener. Cameron Wright, a little stutter step, and then the runner. He'll go to the line after the blocking foul. And he'll try for the three-point play.
That finish by Wright was at the end of the break after Mount St. Mary's went to get a trap. But it illustrates the biggest issue that Mount St. Mary's has right now, 26 points in the paint. However they're getting them, whether it's off turnovers or post feeds or plays like that, it's going to be really hard for them to keep up over the long haul if they keep giving up that many points in the paint.
Wright is now 2 for 3 from the stripe. And Wright with 6 points. Lamar Patterson comes back in for Wright. (31-23) Pitt. Castellanos guarded by Trey Woodall. Norfleet going to the basket using the glass, and a foul is going to be called. A blocking foul. And that'll be whistled against J.J. Moore.
I really like that call by Jamie and Christian, Tim. Out of a timeout, get your best scorer going in a game when you need a bucket. Get them attacking the basket off of the flare screen. Norfleet to the line.
And Norfleet knocks down the first one. Julian Norfleet, majoring in sports management and business. He's a junior from Virginia Beach, Virginia. 25. Now Wack will take a seat. Sam Prescott checks back in for Mount St. Mary's. Full court pressure being applied by the Mountaineers. Trey Woodall works the ball up the court for Pitt. There's a screen by Adams, and Woodall to the basket, scores. We got around the big man, Kreina. That was set up by Steven Adams. 8-point lead for Pitt. Kreina outside. Owens missed the three. And Patterson ahead to Woodall. Back for Patterson. Moore open for a three ball. He's fouled on the shot. Didn't make it, but he'll go to the line and he'll have 3 free throws. J.J. Moore heading to the free throw line. This play earlier, Darren, the screen by Adams setting up Woodall's bucket.
Well, it's the little things that a player like that can do for you that make him special. Not only can he block shots and run and finish at the basket, but when he can get out and do that and create a driving opportunity for Woodall, not only that, after that happens, now you've got a guy of his athletic caliber going to the basket to help clean that up in case there's a miss. There's so many things that he's going to be able to do to help this Pittsburgh Panthers team this year.
And Moore hits the first one. J.J. Moore. He was a high school teammate of Gilbert Brown. The Panthers. Taylor Danaher checking in for the first time for Mount St. Mary's. Redshirt freshman, a 7-footer out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. In a battle among the 7-footers. And the loose ball ends up in possession of Mount St. Mary's. Well, the Mountaineers hanging in there. They're down by 10, their largest deficit. They had held a lead at 18-17 at one point. They had hit 6 straight three-pointers as a team to get their 18 points. 6 minutes to go, first half. 5 seconds on the timer. Castellanos trying to drive, kicks it back out, and the shot clock expires. Turnover to Pitt. Jamian Christian, a guy that they're very excited about in Emmitsburg because he brings a lot of enthusiasm. He's one of the youngest head coaches in NCAA Division I, just 30 years of age, and he's an alum.
I can speak from experience, Tim. When you go back to coach at your alma mater, there are some great advantages to understanding what makes them successful. He's a successful player there, and he'll be able to use that knowledge and experience and belief in his school and his program to help elevate their team and program.
Well, you played at Western Kentucky and also coached there, taking them to the Sweet 16. 3 ball on the way, well long, and the rebound to James Robinson. Long pass ahead for Talib Zana. That is stripped away by Sam Prescott.
There's not a coach in the country that wouldn't love to have Zana on his team.
That's the defense by Prescott as he slaps that one out of the hands of Zana.
Zana's a big that plays hard. He runs the floor. He does the dirty work. He doesn't try to do things that he can't do and hurt you. Really an asset to this Panther basketball team.
Trey Woodall with it. Woodall had surgery in the offseason, battled injury last year. He's back at 100% now. Senior from Brooklyn, New York. Zana, pull-up pop, bang. 12 points for Talib Zana. He's the game's leading scorer. Wack is picked up by Patterson. Wack had it blocked, but Danaher able to get the rebound and the basket to Mount St. Mary's.
That didn't look good to start, Tim, but it didn't result in a basket. They've got to get more penetration and get the basketball in the paint. They can't keep throwing the ball around the perimeter and expect that they're going to hit enough threes all night to win the game.
That basket by Siobhan Wiggins. The first point scored by the Mount St. Mary's bench. And a turnover, traveling violation on Patterson. And the ball back to the Mountaineers.
Good forced turnover right there by Mount St. Mary's. Being aggressive and attacking on defense. Those are the kind of plays that they're going to need to get themselves going.
Pitt with a 10-point lead. Just over 4 minutes to go in the first half. Owens had it blocked by Adams. Pitt looking for their largest lead of the game. Cameron Wright, wraparound pass to Adams. Kicks it back out to Robinson. His floater's good. Pittsburgh leading by 12. The two freshmen, Adams and Robinson, combining on that basket. Prescott to the rack. And the rebound by Adams. Taken away by Prescott. Whack for three, straight on. And again, Adams takes it down. One thing we noticed in shoot-around today about Adams, he is tremendously athletic for a young man his age at 7 feet tall.
I think that's the thing that excites NBA scouts so much. His basketball is going to continue to develop over time, but athletically he is extremely unique and special for his size.
Woodall, the fadeaway. St. Mary's will have the possession. Just under 3 minutes to go in the first half and a 12-point Panther lead. Prescott short on the three. Mount St. Mary's has gone cold from the outside. Another block by Adams. Knocked it right away from Siobhan Wiggins. Steven Adams. There's a lot of excitement about that young man here in Pittsburgh. Steven Adams starting to show people what he is capable of doing defensively.
Unbelievable block right there. Thought he was open, but not when you're as athletic and long as Steven Adams is.
He gets down the floor and contributes here with another assist.
The thing that I love about that play right there, everybody will say, wow, what a great finish by the freshman James Robinson. He's doing such a great job, and it was a nice shot. But the ball movement that led to it started with him, and he's the guy that gets the basket in the end. Great unselfishness.
Alley-oop attempt on the inbound goes awry for Mount St. Mary's, and Wright lost the ball off his leg out of bounds. And the Mount will have possession of the basketball, trailing by 12 here on the road. This is the earliest Mount St. Mary's in the history of their program. This is the 104th season. They've never opened before November 9th.
And I love the aggressiveness on that out-of-bounds call coming out of the timeout. They've been struggling a little bit the last few minutes. Try to throw a lob underneath out of bounds to keep their team in an aggressive mindset. Great call by Jamie and Christian.
Mount St. Mary's struggled last year, winning only 8 games. Picked in the preseason poll for the NEC 9th. And they believe they're a much better team than a 9th place team. Prescott trying to spin toward the basket. Kreina kicks it out. Castellanos short on the jumper and more the rebound. Woodall to the basket, and he's fouled on his way. Wack commits the personal foul. Second one on Wack. So Woodall will head to the free throw line.
Tim, there's no question that a healthy Trey Woodall means so much for Pittsburgh. He's a senior. He's been through the wars. He can score the basketball. He distributes. He's tough-minded.
Woodall originally from Brooklyn, but lives in Patterson, New Jersey. Played for Hall of Fame coach Bob Hurley at St. Anthony's High School. And when he was a senior, he led St. Anthony to a #1 ranking in the United States. He went 32-0 and had an outstanding prep career under Bob Hurley. Wack steps to the double team. Floats one to the basket, and here's Woodall. And he and Wack collide. And now traveling violation will be whistled on Woodall. Not popular among the student section, known as the Oakland Zoo here.
Or with Jamie, I don't think.
Jamie Dixon wanting a foul on that, but instead a turnover. A little over a minute and a half until halftime. Timeout is called by Mount St. Mary's. Castellanos couldn't get the ball in bounds. Nice student section here, the Oakland Zoo. On a Friday night, the Pitt Panther football team at Connecticut. They're going to get underway in about an hour and change, and it's kind of a doubleheader night for the students. They get to watch this game here and then take in the Panthers and Huskies and football on television later.
And if they really wanted to make a day of it, the women played at 11 o'clock this morning.
And apparently it was a triple header. They played Youngstown State, falling to the Penguins. 40-27, Pitt leading Mount St. Mary's here in the lid lifter. The 2012-2013 college basketball season. Castellanos looking for some help. He finds Julian Norfleet. Richard Wack trying to step around Taylor, but Wright picks it up in a held ball situation. Rashad Wack, along with Cameron Wright.
Pittsburgh's length is really creating a major issue for Mount St. Mary's.
J.J. Moore gives it off to Robinson, and Pitt can probably run a little bit of clock here. Right to Woodall. Now screen by Adams. Less than a minute to go now, and 10 seconds on the timer. Robinson, pull-up pop. Got it. James Robinson with 6. His collegiate debut. (42-27). Things have really cooled off for Mount St. Mary's. They started off hot, hitting 6 straight threes. Pitt got a little bit more aggressive on the perimeter, forcing them to go inside. It hasn't worked out as well for him. Again, short on the 3 was Norfleet. And Wright fouled near the sideline. Xavier Owens, sophomore from Tampa, Florida, charged with a personal foul.
This is a situation right here, Tim, where most coaches are going to want to get a shot with 5 or 6 seconds left, especially with a large lead before the half, so there's a chance to rebound it and put it back in.
Second foul on Owens. Now the final 4 seconds. Woodall launches. And that's going to do it for the first half of play as Pitt ended the first half on an 11-2 run and leads at 42-27 after the first 20 minutes of play. Jamie Dixon going in to talk to his troops. Pittsburgh ahead comfortably at the half. Stand by. Halftime activities coming up for the Peterson Events Center on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. Welcome back to the University of Pittsburgh campus of the Peterson Events Center. The Pitt Panthers and the Mountaineers of Mount St. Mary's. Big East tipping off their college seasons tonight as the coaches poll looks like this to start the season. Louisville ranked second in the nation. Tops among the coaches, Syracuse, Notre Dame, Cincinnati, and Georgetown round out the top 5. Any surprises?
Well, don't be surprised to see Pittsburgh and Marquette move up in that as the year goes on.
As far as Big East teams in the top 25, not as many as the conference is accustomed to. Louisville second, Syracuse 9th, Notre Dame 22nd, and Cincinnati 24th.
Usually they have about twice that many, Tim, and expect it to look like that as the season goes on.
News tonight from the Big East comes from Germany. That's right, Kevin Ollie making his debut as the UConn coach, taking over for Jim Calhoun, playing Michigan State, Ramstein Air Force Base. Georgetown playing Florida aboard the USS Bataan in Jacksonville, and Syracuse taking on San Diego State. That game moved to Sunday due to high winds and rain in San Diego. They'll play aboard the USS Midway. When we come back to the Peterson Events Center, we'll have stats and highlights, plus a look at out-of-town scores as our halftime activities continue. Back at the Peterson Event Center on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. We're at the half. Pitt leading Mount St. Mary's 42-27. Take a look at some other scores. One really in progress. That's at Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany, where the Yukon Huskies, in the debut of Kevin Ollie as head coach, with 3:14 to go in the first half, leading 14th ranked Michigan State 38-29. Still to come in the Big East. Villanova in action. Ohio State and Marquette. St. Peter's will meet Rutgers. Seton Hall hosting UMKC. Number 10 Florida's at Georgetown later in Jacksonville. And DePaul also in action a little bit later on tonight. And when we return, we'll take a look at the first half statistics and check out some of the highlights of this one. 42-27, Pitt leads at the break. And we are back here in Pittsburgh at the Peterson Event Center. Halftime score 42-27. The Pittsburgh Panthers leading the Mountaineers of Mount St. Mary's, along with former Western Kentucky and South Carolina coach Darren Horn. I'm Tim Neverett. First half, it started out like a track meet for Mount St. Mary's. Raining threes, moving the ball up and down the court. They cooled off as Pitt began to heat up and score in transition.
Well, they really did, and it was exactly that. Making threes early, a lot of movement, got one in transition. The Pittsburgh defense was stifling after that point, got a lot of easy baskets, a ton of points in the paint, and really a lot of contributors. And one of the things that stands out for me statistically is not only the number of the points in the paint, Tim, but the fact that Patterson, maybe their best overall returning player that they're counting on to do a lot, has 0 points. Speaks to the balance and the depth of this team and the unselfishness of Patterson, that he hasn't tried to force anything yet.
Yeah, some think this might be the deepest Pitt team in some time. Again, Jamie and Christian, the head coach of Mount St. Mary's, telling us that they're going to put up a bunch of threes, and they started out early, and they were connecting.
They were, and you see two guys that they need to make threes right there, in Wack and Morsley.
But the Panthers started to use their inside play. Talib Zana, who has 12 points to lead all scorers, getting it done, and also getting it done in transition.
Well, we talked about points in the paint, and look at how many different ways that Pittsburgh is going to get these points. I think that's the important thing to take away from this half.
Woodall connecting with Steven Adams, his debut game tonight. Not only was he getting it done offensively, but defensively as well. Finding himself inside, and this 7-footer from New Zealand could develop into being a force inside in the Big East.
Well, there's no question about that, Tim. He's a young man that impacts the game in a lot of different ways. You saw it there in the highlights. He can block shots. He finishes at the basket. He's a threat at the end of the break with the lob. He just does so many things that are going to make the game easier for everybody else on Pittsburgh.
Mount St. Mary's has been out-muscled a little bit on the board, certainly out-muscled in transition. Take a look at the first half statistics. Anything stand out, Coach?
Well, as we mentioned, I think the biggest thing is points in the paint. Those things are really big. The three-point shooting that tailed off at the end of the half from Mount St. Mary's, and bench points. 10 points off the bench for Pittsburgh. You talked about their depth, Tim, and there it is, 10 from guys that didn't start. A really balanced team that Pittsburgh has.
Well, for Mount St. Mary's, they've got some work to do here in the second half.
They need some of those threes to go down, and they got to create some offense off their defense.
All right, when we come back, the second half here at the Peterson Events Center. Pittsburgh on top, 42-27. Back at the Peterson Events Center. Pittsburgh looking to extend their first half lead. 42 points up in the first half. What did you like about what you saw from the Panthers, Coach? I know anytime you get going for your first game, there's all kinds of things you want to know about your team as a coach. But what do you think that Jamie Dixon saw that he probably liked in that first half?
I think the first thing that he had to like was this is a program that's built their success on solid half-court, tough, hard-nosed man-to-man defense. They were able to do that, holding them to 36% shooting, but created a lot of offense off of that as well. I know Jamie's really excited about the length that they have, especially on the perimeter, and what they can do with their pressure defensively, and it showed in the first half tonight.
And again, it's an opportunity for players on both sides, really, to try to get into that shorter rotation, if you will, as you start getting closer to conference games. But these non-conference games at the start of the season are so important for guys to show that they belong in that top 8.
Well, there's no question. These young men are all fighting for playing time and trying to show that they belong, and the coaches are trying to figure out what the best lineups and rotations are for them.
We're talking about the best program since 2001, and guy who's been the best scorer so far tonight, Talib Zana, with 12. Trey Woodall also in double figures with 10 for Pitt. And Rashad Wack in double figures with 11 to start the second half for Mount St. Mary's. Norfleet let it go for Castellanos. a foul on the perimeter. Whistled against James Robinson. That's his first. And team's first of the second half. Robinson guarding the inbound. Norfleet puts it in play. Here's Wack, kicks it off to Norfleet. Wide open look at a three. And the rebound by Adams. He just had tremendous inside position on Kreina. 75% from the field for Pitt tonight. And last season, 45%. Fourth best percentage all time in one half of basketball for Pitt. That's 75%. And that's in 106 seasons of basketball.
And again, I think the thing that stands out about that is the fact that it came off of extremely unselfish play and was created in large part by their defense.
Lamar Patterson puts it in play. And Robinson making his college debut, but he played at a very high level for Team USA, the under-18 team that won the gold medal in Brazil. Woodall pass to Zana. He uses the glass for two, and Zana now with 14.
That was a play you saw by James Robinson that most freshmen just don't make. Took the trap under control, made the correct pass and read out of it. Great play by him.
There's Wack guarded by Patterson. Patterson, a very good athlete. Also played quarterback in high school, and his brother also played quarterback at Syracuse. And Patterson down the floor. The lob for Zana. That's 16 for the big man.
Mount St. Mary's has had 4 post touches that have resulted in 3 turnovers that have led to baskets for Pittsburgh. Again, they continue to score off their defense.
Talib Zana continuing to ring up points. And Zana from Nigeria. He's got 5 siblings, none of which have ever seen him play live in the United States. They know he's doing well, however. That's swatted away by Adams. This kid might turn into something else. He is causing all kinds of problems for Mount St. Mary's.
And again, the thing that's impressive about that play is his footwork. He makes the correct defensive play to help on the play to start with, and then recovers to the young man, Norfleet, that pulls up for the jump shot and still blocks the shot. That's what makes him special.
Woodall high off the glass for 2. Trey Woodall with 12. And a blocking foul whistled against Woodall.
I like that play by Castellanos. It's a play that's aggressive. It's attacking. I think that they're going to need a little more of that. Maybe a little bit out of control on that one, but they've got to try to find a way to get the ball penetrated towards the basket off dribble penetration or some post feeds.
Well, Mount St. Mary's right now trying to cut into a pretty big Pitt run. You trace it back to the end of the first half, 17-2.
They need one of those threes to go down right now, Tim.
Yeah, they have not hit one since early in the game. They had 6 in a row, and they've been cold since. They've hit 7 total in the game.
One of the great challenges that they've had during that run is they've given up some easy baskets going against this Pitt defense in the half court. We talked about earlier in the game, it's going to be a long night, and it's starting to be that for Mount St. Mary's if they have to go against Pittsburgh in the half court.
Mount St. Mary's waiting to inbound the ball. They'll trigger it along the near side. Sam Prescott, the junior from Philadelphia, has seen a lot of playing time. There's the turnover and the steal back by Julian Norfleet. Seems like Mount St. Mary's has been stuck on 27 for a while now. There goes Norfleet. A whistle and a foul.
Really impressed with Adams and his job in guarding ball screens. Does a tremendous job at 7 foot of coming out and really stepping out into the screen and hedging it exactly like Jamie Dixon walked through today.
And the foul, by the way, an offensive foul, so a turnover. And now Pitt back with a basketball, facing some full court pressure. This mayhem style that Jamie and Christian is employing this year, a big departure from the Princeton offense that was run last year by the Mountaineers. And again, part of the mayhem is the defense too, and I think once they get into conference play a little bit deeper into their season, they'll probably be pressing a lot more, wouldn't you agree?
I think they'll turn up the heat, do a lot more trapping and rotating out of it. You know, one of the things that Jamie and I talked about before the game is if it got in a situation like this, with it being their first game playing this style, you got to continue to stick with the style. You got to continue to play with an aggressive mindset and attitude. Difficult thing to ask young people to do, especially when it's their first time out in a new system.
Fouls on Xavier Owens. That's his third. 30 years of age, Jamie and Christian. Last year at VCU as an assistant under Shaka Smart. So learned a lot. The VCU team has done exceptionally well lately. So some of that had to rub off on Jamie and Christian. Substitution as Robinson will leave the court for Pitt. Trey Ziegler comes back in. Trey Woodall is at the line for the free throw.
Trey Ziegler's a young man that can really help this Pittsburgh basketball team. Look to see if he can get a basket or get a steal and get out in transition and make something happen and get himself going.
Mountaineers has had a scoring drought of more than 8.5 minutes, as Pitt has extended their lead to 50-27. No field goals in 8.5 plus for Mount St. Mary's. Prescott is pressured in a held ball situation. The possession arrow favoring Pitt. And a timeout on the floor. 15:32 remaining in the game. Pitt 50-27. Talib Zana leading all scorers with 16 points. To 27, Pitt with the lead, 15:32 to go in the second half. Inside the play. Let's take a look at this one, Coach.
Well, we know that Mount St. Mary's on a drought, but here is why they're on a drought. Tremendous help on the ball screen by Steven Adams. They try to get a reversal and drive it back off reversal, which is good basketball, but Trey Ziegler is right there in help to shut down the paint and force the turnover. Pittsburgh has been tremendous inside the three-point line tonight on defense.
And the bonus for that turnover and the held ball was that the possession arrow favored Pitt.
Let's look to see coming out of this timeout if maybe Jamie will try to turn up the pressure and get some more trapping and rotating.
Patterson to Zana. Philippe Zana having a big night. 16 points. He has only 1 rebound, however. Hasn't had to be in a lot of rebounding situations. Most of the rebounds have been long rebounds for Pitt. And look at the guards. Robinson and Woodall, they have 4 and 2 respectively. Steven Adams leads in rebounders from the big side with 4 himself. Danaher was pressuring the inbound. 3-point try, missed. Adams the rebound, and Zana with a two-handed jam. 18 points for Zana.
Just another play that shows why Steven Adams has the potential to be so special. Not only does he come up with that ball, but to make that pass, that's a very difficult play for a 7-footer, especially a freshman.
And Ziegler, 2 more. 54-27.
Well, that's what Ziegler can bring to this Panther basketball team, Tim. He's a young man that can get out in transition, finish at the rim. He slashes. Great play by him on the break.
Javon Wiggins drives in the middle of the big men. Shot was redirected. It's out of bounds off of Adams. And Mount St. Mary's will have the inbound underneath. Some changes as Adams will check out. Dante Taylor comes in for him. J.J. Moore, Cameron Wright enter for Pitt. And an easy bucket there for Christian Kreina.
That's a tremendous call by Jamie and Christian. Obviously, they'd had trouble with the corner pass and the trap from Pittsburgh. Calls a fake handoff, results in a dunk.
And a foul is called. It'll be whistled against Kreina. So Dante Taylor will go to the line. Dante Taylor, 6'9" senior, playing in his 105th game for Pitt tonight.
If I would have told you that at the 14-minute mark of the second half, Pitt had 55 points, and between Taylor and Patterson, they just got their first point, you would have never believed me.
You see Zana with a career-high 18. He had 16 against DePaul last January 5th. He now has a new career-high, 18 and counting. (56-29). Pitt pouring it on here in the second half. Now Pitt will play again on Monday. They'll face Fordham from the Atlantic 10. The Rams will come in to take on the Panthers Monday. There's the block. Making the block was Ziegler. Now Wiggins. Hit the rim before the shot clock expired. Loose ball still being battled for, and then it's knocked in by Christian Kreina.
Wiggins has gotten the ball in the paint the last 2 times that he's touched it and attacked the basket. That's something that Mount St. Mary's needs.
Ziegler forcing it down the floor. He scores. A blocking foul is called on Kreina. And Ziegler will go to the line to try to convert a 3-point play. You talk about 3 newcomers, 3 impact players, and we talk about James Robinson, the starting point guard, a freshman, Steven Adams, the starting center, a freshman, and the transfer is Ziegler. Ziegler's dad, Ernie, was his head coach at Central Michigan, where he transferred from, and also his dad was an assistant coach here at Pitt. And while he was at Pitt, the Ziegler family grew up in the North Hills of Pittsburgh.
Well, what a luxury for Jamie Dixon that you get a transfer in that is experienced. He's a coach's son. He brings you tremendous toughness and athleticism and can make the plays that we saw the last 2 times he touched it.
Norfleet got it out to Xavier Owens. He's doubled on the line. Stepping through the double team. That time was Wack. Taylor tips it over to Cameron Wright. Pitt with the basketball again. Just under 13 minutes to play. Wright. That one redirected. Now 3-ball on the way. Norfleet couldn't connect. And it's out of bounds off of Cameron Wright. So Mount St. Mary's will maintain possession. Again, as we told you in the first half, Cameron Wright's father passing away earlier today. The team was notified during shoot-around this morning. That's when Jamie Dixon found out. One of the assistants was contacted on a cell phone. A long battle with brain cancer for the father of Cameron Wright. And again, very brave here today. Playing on the night he learns of his father's passing. Julian Norfleet with a basketball. And Castellanos.
We're almost 8 minutes into the second half, and only 3 3-point attempts by Mount St. Mary's.
Norfleet to the basket. He'll score off the glass. Mount St. Mary's is going to need a lot more of that if they hope to get back in this game somehow. A foul is going to be called on Josh Castellanos, the junior from Orlando.
Right now, Jamie and Christian, as a coach, is looking for his team to stay aggressive, Tim, both defensively and picking up their pressure, and offensively, like you just saw from Norfleet, really attacking the basket, being aggressive, even with shooting the basketball. Only 3 3-point attempts, as we mentioned. They want to shoot much more than that.
A foul called. Again, Castellanos guilty of it. That's his second one quickly. So, sixth team foul. Next one will put Pitt in the bonus for the remainder of the game. Well, Jamie and Christian in his first game as a head coach. He's been an assistant before, but a young coach, 34. And you were in that, 30 rather. You were in that position too as a young coach your first time. What do you go through?
Well, normally you're not going to win that first game because you're usually playing a team like Pittsburgh in the first one. But, again, as I mentioned earlier, just wanting to make sure that your team sticks as closely as possible to playing the way that you want to play, playing through adversity, and trying to grow every time out.
Kreina against Moore. Off the glass and good for Christian Kreina. 6 points for the big man from Croatia. And now Mount St. Mary's on their longest run of the game, 6-0. Pass right to Ziegler. 3-on-2. Ziegler splits the defense and scores. And you got to be impressed with what you're seeing out of Trey Ziegler. 7 points for the transfer.
Really come alive in the second half, and it's all been on slashing transition type of baskets, which is only going to help this team.
Lack and Robinson got tangled up. Now Taylor comes out to help out on D. Owens hits the three. That's the first one in quite some time. That's the 8th three-pointer for Mount St. Mary's tonight. And Xavier Owens now with 9 points.
That three-pointer result of an aggressive attack on the ball screen by Josh Castellanos, which led to the throwback and an open shot.
First 3 of the second half for Mount St. Mary's. This ball knocked out of bounds off of Mount St. Mary's. And Pitt will maintain possession when we come back to the Peterson Event Center on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. 61-38 Pitt. Pitt with a big lead in the second half, just about halfway through it. Trey Ziegler getting into the action, the transfer from Central Michigan. He's doing it at both ends of the floor.
He really is, and he's doing it with winning plays. There's a great defensive play. Here's a winning play. He's on the break, keeps his head up. He's under control. He avoids the charge, gets the and one. And again, on the break, head up, under control, finds a seam, finishes at the rim, looking like a coach's son out there.
It's because he is one.
Oh, maybe that's why, Tim. I know Ernie's got to be really proud of him tonight. It's got to be a special night for their family.
J.J. Moore on the inbound, gives it back to Robinson. Trey Woodall dumps it off to Moore. His jumper short. And the rebound, Xavier Owens. St. Mary's trying to put something together here. When you find yourself on the wrong side of a score like this, do the goals change at all if you're the head coach in terms of what you're trying to accomplish in the second half?
Well, I think from getting the score down, you want to try to set a goal. Right now it's obviously really big, so that's a little difficult to do. But you want to try to maintain your focus on what it is that you need to do to be your best team moving forward.
He's going to roll out of bounds and went off the foot of Dante Taylor.
And for Jamie and Christian, one of those things is as much a mentality as it is a basketball thing right now. Continue to stay aggressive, guys, on both ends of the floor. That's how we want to play the game throughout the year.
Norfleet changes hands and did not beat the buzzer. That's a shot clock violation and a turnover for Mount St. Mary's. Well, when you schedule these games, non-conference games like this, it works two ways. Obviously, for Pitt, you're the home team, and you want to get a chance to see at least 11 of your guys. But for the team that comes in here from a conference that is not known as one like the Big East, what advantages can a game like this have for you down the stretch?
Well, I think there's a couple things you get from it. One, you get to be in a big-time environment, get a TV game, play against great competition. And then to build on that, the second one is, that as you move forward during the season, you can tell your guys, hey, guys, we did these things really well against Pittsburgh, whatever they might be. And we're not going to see anybody in our league that has the talent or the depth that they have. And it's something that you can make a positive and really build upon.
Right with the left hand. That goes in. A friendly rim for Pitt. And Cameron Wright with a bucket. Right now with 8 points. (63-38). Castellanos trying to run the offense. Looks over at his young head coach, Jamie and Christian. And a foul called on the outside, an arm. The foul will be called on Robinson. It's his second personal foul.
Good things have happened when Mount St. Mary's has attacked off of dribble penetration here in the second half and really looked to get the ball to the rim by attacking off the drive.
Trey Ziegler comes back in, and Robinson will have a seat. Also checking in for Pittsburgh is Steven Adams. Jamie Dixon with a methodical line change here. Patterson is in. Zana's back in. Patterson still with no points. (63 points on the board for Pitt. And Patterson, a guy they rely on to score, has 0 at this point. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's not playing well. He's just not in the scoring mode tonight. Other guys have had the opportunities. Here's Siobhan Wiggins. 4 on the timer. And Kelvin Parker misses the 3. Adams tips it over to Trey Woodall. Wiggins just couldn't get around Adams at midcourt. Not a lot of guys can.
It's a lot of man to get around.
Patterson still looking for his first basket. Woodall gives it off to Patterson. Patterson on the baseline looking to drive. Patterson flips one up there, no good. Adams a rebound and an easy putback.
Adams a rebound and easy putback because Zana got on the glass again. Still doing the little things that don't always show up in the stat sheet and doing all the dirty work, and a career high to boot tonight.
6 points for Adams. Only down to 7 minutes to play. Pitt with a 65-38 lead. There's a steal. Here comes Ziegler. And Trey Ziegler for 2 more. Ziegler with 9. And all 9 of his points have come in the second half. He could be a real game changer off the bench for Pitt as this season goes along if he continues to play like this. 3-pointer missed, and Adams outreaching Danaher for the rebound.
A lot of teams in the country would like to have Ziegler coming off the bench for him.
Kicked out of bounds by Mount St. Mary's. Timeout with 6:29 to play. Pitt up big, 67-38. (67-38). Pitt leading with 6:29 to go. It's the first game as a head coach for 30-year-old Jamian Christian, one of the youngest Division I coaches. Bashir Mason of Wagner, 28. Wes Miller of UNC Greensboro, 29. And you can relate. You were 30 when you took over the Western Kentucky program. You know what he's going through.
I know exactly what he's going through, and doing it at his alma mater just as I did. And I think the challenge is it's like a lot of other things in life. Maybe getting married or having children. It doesn't matter how well prepared you are. I was prepared by one of the best in the business in Tom Crean. But it's just different, and there's a lot of things that are new that come with it, and it's a new experience for you. But he's incredibly intelligent. He works really hard. I love his energy, and he's committed to his style of play. I don't think there's any question Jamian Christian's going to do well.
Adams now with 8. Puts down the easy flush. We talked to Christian before the game, asked him what's going through his head before his first game. He said, it's just another game. I think afterward he might have a different opinion.
That's definitely true.
Pitt by 31 with just under 6 minutes to go.
One of the things you're looking for if you're Jamian Christian right now, Tim, is a finish where you can point to some positives when you get this film out in preparation for the next game. Again, one of the values in playing a game like this early on is that when you show some of those positives, you can say, hey, guys, if we did this against Pittsburgh out of the Big East, we're not going to see teams like this in our conference.
At the line, Javon Wiggins. Wiggins, a freshman from Charlotte. Wiggins only took 2 seasons in high school to score 1,000 points. A lot of guys can't do that. He hits that one.
Jamie and Christian's very high on Wiggins. Thinks he's got an opportunity to be an outstanding player, especially in their style of play.
He went on a long pass to Adams. Patterson. Inside it goes to Zana. He extends his career high to 20 points. Very good in terms of shooting percentage. He's 10 of 12. Granted, most of his shots have come from right underneath, but still, outstanding night for him, leading scorer in the game with 20. And a steal by Zana. And stolen right back. Norfleet had it knocked away by Ziegler. To leave Zana. He'll get a rest and a well-earned one. Career high 20 points for Zana. Sam Prescott off to Rashad Wack. Wack with a right hand. Going to the basket. Can't get it to connect. And Ziegler the rebound. To Ziegler. Ziegler trying to kick it underneath to Dante Taylor. Knocked out of bounds by Christian Kreina. Pitt basketball, 4:32 left in the game, 21 seconds on the shot clock once they put it in play. But even though Pitt and J.J. Moore adds to the point total, 73-39, a 12-1 run over the last 4 minutes for Pittsburgh.
Love that finish by J.J. Moore. That's something that he could be so good at and be really effective even in the Big East play. He's a big athletic wing that has the ability to take smaller guys down on the block and finish like we just saw.
A held ball situation. Ball will go to Mount St. Mary's. But even though you look at the high point total of 73 and there's been some pretty good things, the Pitt coaches are going to break this thing down and find all the problems. And they're going to try to find negatives to try to correct, won't they? Isn't that how you self-evaluate sometimes?
Well, absolutely. They're going to find the things that they know they're going to need to do better and do better when they get into Big East play against teams that are more like them.
Prescott got it over to Xavier Owens. Under 4 minutes. Inside, Kreina was open, but picked up underneath. And the foul called. J.J. Moore inside, and he is whistled for the foul. Timeout on the floor. 3:50 to go in the game. Pitt 73, Mount St. Mary's 39. 73-39. Pitt leading Mount St. Mary's in the opener of the 2012-2013 season. Now time for the All-State Good Hands play of the game. Woodall to Adams.
No question that was good hands, and he's used them to do a lot of different things tonight, Tim. One of the big ways he's impacted the game with him is by blocking shots. 4 blocked shots by that young man in his college debut. 8 points, 8 rebounds. He's been incredibly efficient. I've been really impressed with his ability to pass the basketball as well.
As they say in New Zealand, good on you. That's a compliment there.
Well, good on him then.
Crying out the line with 6 points. Make it 7. He used the glass. 73-40 lead for Pitt. And next up for Mount St. Mary's, they'll open at home on the 13th against Hartford. And J.J. Moore inside for a pair. Moore now with 8 points. J.J. Moore, nice job off the bench here tonight.
Tim, I'm not big on predictions, but I'm pretty confident in saying Pittsburgh's going to be much better maybe than people think they're going to be. I think last year is over. Obviously, they had some injury issues and some other things. But when you've got maybe your most important player, a veteran, who you're counting on to do a lot of things, especially score the basketball like Patterson, who's sitting at 0 points and passes up a wide-open shot to a teammate in a game where you're up 30 points, that speaks volumes to what these young men are committed to and the leadership that he has, and that leads to a lot of wins.
Xavier Owens with the 3 for Mount St. Mary's. Mount St. Mary's 9 for 23 from 3. Pitt 1 for 6. They haven't needed to take the threes because they've been getting a lot of those. And Ziegler now with 11. He's in double figures. Third Panther in double figures. 20 for Zana, 11 for Ziegler, 14 for Woodall. Castellanos taking it down to the 2-minute mark. And a foul called on the outside. And it's going to be whistled against J.J. Moore. It's his 3rd foul and the 7th on the team. So that puts Mount St. Mary's in the bonus the rest of the way. But Pitt running away with this one. Points in the paint. Enormous advantage for Pitt tonight. 56-10. And also points off turnovers, 24-3.
And we talked about coming out of the half. What's impressive about those points in the paint is not just that they've got them, but how many different ways they've gotten them.
Dante Taylor off the miss from Robinson. And the Panthers flirting with 80 points here tonight. Castellanos to the basket, and Castellanos scores. And some full court pressure late by Mount St. Mary's.
I like this by Jamie and Christian, staying aggressive late in the game, trying to build on the style that they want to play as they move forward during the non-conference and prepare for their conference season. This is a team that's going to continue to get better and better as they get used to their style and understanding their roles in a new system.
Out of the final 45 seconds, Moore fouled on his way to the hoop. Kleina committing the personal foul. And J.J. Moore will go to the line to shoot 2. Third foul on Kleina. And that's the 7th foul on Mount St. Mary's. So now Pitt in the bonus. Now the final couple of possessions of this game. Most impressive thing to you about Pitt tonight in their home opener?
I think overall their balance and their depth. They're a team that can hurt you a lot of different ways, and their defense was absolutely outstanding. For them to guard as solid as they did in the half court and still create the number of turnovers they did, I think that's a real positive sign for them. And it's something that they're going to have to build on because they've got some tough games coming up.
Well, speaking of building on, what do you think Mount St. Mary's can build on from what they showed tonight?
Well, obviously they can build on that start when they go back and watch the film and show their aggressiveness. And I think that, they can build on the fact that they had some bright spots from a couple individuals. I thought Wiggins was really good in the second half, attacking the basket. And Kreina did some good things in the second half as well. But it's going to be a work in progress for them. They've got to find a way to stay focused and keep getting better heading into league play.
Xavier Owens scoring the basket, and in the restricted area arc was Ziegler, so that's an automatic block there. You saw the official point right at the circle as opposed to a player. That'll indicate the foul emanates from that restricted area arc. So into the ball game right now for Mount St. Mary's is Aaron Brown.
Owens and Lunchstock.
A shot taken and made by Xavier. And now Gregory Graves, a freshman from Sterling, Virginia, gets to get on the court here in the opener. Shot clock is dead, 22 seconds remaining.
I like what Jamie and Christian's doing with his young team that's learning to play the way he wants to play. He's grabbing individuals as they come off the court, talking to them about how to move forward, how to deal with this, how to stay focused, and continue to be committed to a style of play. That this is just one game, got to keep getting better and keep making progress.
Aaron Devan, also just in off the bench, commits the foul. And that'll put Robinson to the line with 7 seconds to go on this one. So Jamie Dixon getting set to go to 10-0 in opening nights for him as a head coach at Pitt. And Devan will get away with an up and down as the game comes to an end. Final score 80-48. We're back to wrap it up and the Pete in a moment. (80-48). Pitt wins their opener. Mount St. Mary's falls in their opener, and Pitt now 5-0 since 1912 against Mount St. Mary's. It's been a long but sparse series, but Pitt has won every single game. Big night tonight for Talib Zana, career-high 20 points. Trayvon Woodall, double-figure scoring, and Trey Ziegler, double figures off the bench for Pitt.
Well, there's so many positives, it's hard to pick just one. Ziegler off the bench obviously is a big one, but I also think you got to be impressed with the overall balance that they had. Again, Patterson, no points, but continues to play great team basketball. Zana with a career high. Woodall's was a quiet 14, really, and just an outstanding team effort. And maybe most importantly, if you're Jamie Dixon, they did it with defenses, which is what this program has been built on.
And they did it with a couple of freshman starters. Steven Adams, the 7-footer. James Robinson, the point guard. Outstanding night for Adams. He had 4 blocks, 2 assists, 8 points, 8 rebounds. Big things are ahead for these two freshmen.
Well, there's no question about it, and the reason is not only are they impressive talents that obviously produced some terrific numbers tonight, more importantly, they did it with great efficiency, and they played well beyond their years in terms of how they approached the game. Didn't make any freshman mistakes. Jamie will find a few things, as all coaches do, on the film, but tremendous poise for freshmen from those guys.
So Pitt goes to 1-0. For Darren Horn, I'm Tim Neverett saying so long from the Peterson Events Center on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. The final score, Pitt 80, Mount St. Mary's 48. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.